Welcome. My name is Peter Strong, and I provide online therapy for anxiety and depression and addictions, and also for help with obsessive-compulsive disorder and intrusive thoughts. So, one of the best ways of overcoming intrusive thoughts and beating this problem of intrusive thoughts and also images too and memories is to learn how to work with these thoughts using mindfulness. So I specialize in mindfulness therapy, and I find it to be immensely effective for working with difficult intrusive thoughts. So the best way to beat intrusive thoughts is not to fight them. If you fight those intrusive thoughts, if you try to get rid of them, that will end up feeding them, and you will make them stronger, and then they become even more intrusive. So the best way to beat intrusive thoughts is to develop a friendly relationship with them. Now, I know that may seem difficult because the intrusive thoughts cause so much pain and anxiety, but it's only by making friends with those thoughts that you can ever hope to free yourself from intrusive thinking. One of the best models, I think, for working with intrusive thoughts is to really examine why do those thoughts or images or memories keep coming back into the mind. Why are they intrusive? And from a mindfulness perspective, we see this intrusiveness as actually quite positive, in the sense that we recognize that those thoughts, those emotionally charged thoughts or images or memories, are essentially trying to heal themselves. But in order to heal, they must have your conscious awareness, your conscious presence. You need to have that conscious and friendly relationship with them in order to help them heal and make the changes that they need to make in order to heal. So I think of intrusive thoughts or emotions or memories as being like children. They are limited in their ability to heal their own suffering, primarily because children have limited consciousness. So when a child is in pain, it goes to its parent in order to gain the greater consciousness of its parent and to connect with that greater consciousness to help it heal, to get the comfort that it needs to heal. So that is how I look at intrusive thoughts. They are not our enemy. They are simply like hurt children that are trying to get the comfort and compassion and wisdom necessary to heal. So we must not, under any circumstances, avoid intrusive thoughts or memory images. Instead, we must learn how to develop a conscious relationship with them. And developing a friendly relationship simply has the effect of increasing the quality of that consciousness. This is what those thoughts need to change and heal. So we develop a conscious and compassionate relationship with our intrusive thoughts. We then explore helping them heal, and this is technically called the response of compassion, which is a central and integral part of mindfulness. We learn how to help them heal, how to help the thought or the emotion heal itself. We see that that thought is not you. It is an object in you, just like a child is not you. It is separate from you, but it needs a relationship with you in order to heal. So we relate to our intrusive thoughts as being like objects, or even better, being like that child that's coming to us for help. We look at its structure. What does it actually need to heal? And one of the primary ways we can help it heal is to examine the emotional imagery of the intrusive thought or image or memory. So the emotional part is what keeps it intrusive, is what causes it to stay in the mind. It's the emotional charge of the thought or memory image that we must heal and change. And that emotional charge is primarily encoded in imagery. So how we see the thought in the mind, how we see the memory in the mind, is what actually causes that memory or thought to have this emotional charge. So we look at its imagery, and then we explore changing that imagery, which we can do once we have a conscious relationship with the thoughts or memory images or other intrusive images. We look at the structure of the imagery, and then we work on changing that imagery. For example, one of the things we can do, which can have immensely powerful effects on the emotional charge, is to change the size of the image. It's your image, it's your emotion, it's your property. You can change it however you want. The only thing that keeps it in its current form is habit, which is really based on the lack of awareness, the lack of consciousness. Now you have a conscious relationship with it, you see its size and other properties. You can change those properties, and you can help it heal in that way, because that's what it means. For an emotion to heal, it has to change its imagery. It will become smaller. It will become more distant. It will also change its color and its shape and its form and all the other aspects that make up visual imagery. Those properties will change over time. This is how emotions heal. So, for example, if you think about grief, so at the time when a friend or a dog or a cat died, the emotion is very intense. Look at the imagery of the emotion at that point. It will be very large, very close, and very vivid in color and detail and texture and so on. That is what creates the emotion of grief. The same applies for trauma. If you've experienced a traumatic event in childhood or in current life, if you see an accident or something that's very disturbing, look at the imagery. It will be very large, very close, and very intense in color and detail. So that is what creates the emotional charge. We can change that. We can make the imagery smaller. We can move it further away. We can decrease the color. We can tone it down, literally. We can move it to a different position. That's often a very good thing to start with. So it's often too close, so move it further away. These are things that we explore during mindfulness therapy when we're working with intrusive thoughts. We explore the imagery and we explore changing the imagery in a way that neutralizes that emotion, that allows that emotion to heal and recover and return to a natural state of balance. For example, with the grief, when time passes, you'll feel less grief. This happens quite naturally. Why do you feel less grief? Because the imagery has changed. Look at the image of that person a year after their death, or the dog or the cat. Look at the imagery a year later. You will find that it is smaller, more distant, and less intense in color and detail. So this is a natural healing process. This is how emotions change. When the emotion changes, then there is nothing to sustain the intrusive thought or belief or memory or anything else. So it's by working with the imagery in this way that we can help intrusive thoughts heal, and when they heal, they are no longer intrusive. They simply fall away like any other thoughts. So if you'd like to learn more about how to use mindfulness to beat intrusive thoughts and to overcome obsessive and intrusive thinking, then please go to my website, send me an email, and let's schedule a Skype therapy session. I do all my sessions via Skype. I find that to be a very effective medium. It's very important that you can see each other, and if you can see each other, then there's no difference between Skype therapy or in-person therapy. So please, if you'd like to work on overcoming your intrusive thoughts, please do send me an email and let's schedule a trial session. Most people see quite interesting changes even after the very first session, and certainly after 3 or 4 sessions you will begin to see profound changes in the intensity and frequency of those intrusive thoughts, memories, or images. So please contact me. Thank you.